on my first equation. When I type it on my calculator, it'll look like this. I'm going to plug values in to the parentheses and graph them. What number should we plug in first?
0.
0. Boom, 0 is at -4. Okay, that fit on my graph. Now I look at the fraction. What's on the bottom of the fraction? 3. So I'm going to place a 3, but it's going to get mad because 3 is down 6, and why is that going to be frustrating to me? Why? There's not room on the graph. Easy way to fix it. How can I put a different type of 3 in? I'm just going to change it to a -3. -3 is at, -2. -3 is at -2. That fits on my graph. That was an easy, see how easy that was to fix it? I just switched the sign. Now I'm going to graph this one. When I type it on my calculator, it will look like this. I'm going to clear 5 divided by 3 with parentheses plus a 3. First, I plug 0 in. 0's at 3. Bottom of the fraction is a 3, so I'm going to plug a 3 in. 3/8. Is that going to work for my graph? 3,8. If I try and go there, it won't fit. So I'm going to adjust and change it to a -3, and it's at -2. That means my solution is -3, -2. I think it says solution or intersection. The other day I wrote interception, like football. Intersection. Any questions? No? All right, let's try the right side graph. I'm going to plug in this fraction with parentheses -4. All I do is replace x with the parentheses. Clear. -3/4, parentheses, -4. I'm going to plug a 0 in first. 0's at -4. Then I'm going to plug in the bottom number of my fraction, which would be a 4. Does 4 -7 fit? It would not. So I'm going to adjust my +4 to a -4. -4 is at -1. Second graph, so I can find where they touch. 3/4, parentheses, plus a 2. 3/4, whoops, parentheses with a +2. I'm going to put 0 first. 0 is at 2. Then I'm going to plug a 4 in because that's the bottom number. 4 is at 5. Hey, that fits. What do you think is going to happen when I graph my line? You see how it's going to hit? It lines up. It lines up with the point, -4, down 1. Questions on graphing? Okay, next, we are going to be solving inequalities and graphing them on a number line. For the first one, I'm going to subtract 3. 4x is bigger than -4. I then divide by 4 that's attached to the x. Will I flip my sign? Nope, I leave the sign alone. X is bigger than -1. That would be my solution. And if they ask me to graph it, I would put a open dot on -1, and I would shade to the right. I'll be done. Only a few questions will ask you to graph. All right, question B. Question B is going to be a little bit more difficult because there are 2 x's right here, and there are constants right there. My first step is I'm going to move the positive 19x to the left. To move positive 19, I minus 19x. When I move the 19 over, I moved it over with this 13. I'm going to move that -13 to the right. So I'm going to add the 13. That gives me cancel -5x bigger, or sorry, smaller, cancel 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. My second step, I then divide by the -5. What do I have to do when I divide by a negative? Yep, I need to flip the sign, which gives me x flip 18 over 5. That can't reduce. I'm just going to leave it as 18 over 5. If you graph it, don't make it harder than you need to on your homework. It will be whole numbers. But I would just put an open dot at -18 over 5 and shade the right. Questions? Okay, question C. Question C has parentheses. I'm going to distribute. That would give me 4 minus 6x is smaller or equal to 4x plus 6. Then I'm going to move the positive 4x to the left. And I'm going to move the positive 4 to the right. So move this positive 4 and minus the 4. That would cancel out. I would have negative 10x. Cancels out. 6 minus 4 is 2. I'm going to divide by negative 10, which means I flip the sign. Flip the sign. Who knows what 2 over negative 10 is? That will reduce. Yeah, what is it? 0.2, or you could put a decimal, completely fine. What else can I put? What's half of 2? 1 over, what's half of 10? 5. It would reduce to 1 over 5, and it would have a negative sign. You can put it on the 5, you can put it on the 1 in the front, you can put the negative wherever you want. If you want a decimal, decimals are completely fine as well. When we graph it, all I do is stick that fraction on my number line with a closed dot. Why do I do a closed? Good. The equal to is a closed dot, and it's pointing to the right. Question B. Same thing, I have to distribute first. This time it's mean I have 2 sets. 5 times 4 is 20x. 5 times 3 is 15. 9 times x is 9x. 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. I will then move the positive 9x to the left, minus it. And I will move what to the right? What do I move to the right side? The 15, the positive 15. I'm going to move to the right by subtracting it. Good job. That gives me 20, 19, 18, 17. That's gone. Gone. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And they're negatives. Negative 33. Third step, divide by 11. If I divide by 11, do I need to flip the sign? I do not. It's a positive number. It won't flip my sign. Negative 33 divided by 11 is negative 3. For the graph, open or closed dot. Closed dot. And I shade to the right again. Any questions before we go to solving for variables on the next side? Right, turn the page. First one, it says solve the following equation for C. Here is C. I want to try and get it alone, so I'm going to first get rid of the plus sign that is stuck to the C. The plus sign I would undo by subtracting 32. F minus 32 equals 9 over 5 C. Who thinks they know what we should do next? Yeah, what would you guess to do?
Divide over the 9 by 5.
Ooh. Get rid of, how would I divide by the, it's like if I stick it under it, 9 over 5, I'm going to have a lot of fractions. There is another way to like technically divide by it. So you are correct. Does anybody remember how you get a fraction to cancel out? Yeah.
Check calculator.
Yes, it should show up on my computer.
Huh?
It should show up on my computer. Fraction. How can I get rid of the fraction? It's saying to divide by 5. How would I undo divide by 5? Yeah. Times it by 5. But it's saying to multiply it by a 9 on the top. How do I undo a multiply by 9? Opposite of multiply by 9 is divide by it.
You sent Callie Pearson to the attendance office. She's checking out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we multiply by 5 and divide by 9, which basically means we flip the fraction. That will undo both. That's how we divide by the 9 over 5. If I do that to this side, I would also have to do it to the left, which would cancel out. Done. C is all by itself. Question F. It wants me to isolate the H. Do you see how it has a 1/3 on it? I'm going to get rid of that fraction first by multiplying by 3. Do I need to divide by a 1? Does dividing by 1 do anything? No. So really, I don't need to divide by the 1 on there. You could if you wanted to, but it would not change anything. When I multiply by 3, that will give me 3v equals pi r squared with an h. It'll get rid of that fraction. I'm still trying to get h by itself. Do you see any plus or minus signs I need to get rid of? There's no plus or minus signs, which means I'm going to now divide by the pi and by the r squared. I don't want either of those attached to the h. These would cancel out once I divide them. H is now alone. Try. I'm going to have you guys tell me how to do D. It's pretty similar to F. I'm trying to find the R. Anybody want to take a guess at the first move? The R alone. It's kind of like F. What was the first move on F? What was the first move? Yes. Multiply by 3. When I multiply by 3, what will I write for my line? My first line. Anybody want to try? What will be on the left side of the equation now? Just the left side.
I don't know. I don't know.
3 and B. 3B will be on the left. I put them close together like that because they are being multiplied. What will be gone on the right side now? What did I get rid of?
The 1/3.
I got rid of the 1/3. That is gone. So all I write is pi r squared with an h on it. I still want to get this r by itself. So I will now divide because there's no plus or minus signs, by pi and the h. On your homework, you will have one just like this. Mine is more difficult than yours will be. Do you see how mine has the power of 2 on it? Mine actually wants me to get that power of 2 off of it. So in order to get rid of, I just put my math backwards, sorry, of the r squared, I have to use a square root, which you have not seen before. This is brand new. On your homework, you will not have to do this. To get rid of that power, the square root would cross that off, and I would have to do it for the left side as well. H. It wants me to solve for the letter H. Do you see any plus or minus signs that I can move away from H? Can I move the 2W or the 2L by adding or subtracting when they're in parentheses like this? I can't. When they're in parentheses, I can't add and subtract them. But this little piece is just hanging out. It's not in parentheses. I can move it. I'm going to subtract the 2WL. That means I'll have an S on the left, and I'll have a minus 2WL. Now this is going to surprise you. We only have one more step, and then we're done. How is H attached to the 2W minus 2L? It's being multiplied by it. How do I undo multiplication? Divide by what I do not want. So I'm going to divide by 2W minus 2L. That will cancel that out. H will be alone. Bless you. Question I want to solve for the y. Is there anything being added or subtracted to it? You see there's a plus sign? X plus 7 is being added to the y over 9. When I add those together, I can undo through subtraction. There are different ways to do this. You don't have to do it this way. That would give me y over 9 equals 1 minus x over 7. How do I complete getting y by itself? Yep, that's a good idea. Multiply by 9. Why is multiplying by 9 a good idea to get the 9 off the y? Because it's being divided by it, so I do the opposite. When I rewrite this one, because I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 9, it'll be y equals 9 times 1 minus x over 7. That's how I would write it, so I don't have to distribute the 9 to both. I can just put parentheses around it to represent it as a whole. If you want the 9 at the end, that's also completely fine. You can put it in the front of the parentheses or the back. It would not matter when you submit your work. J wants me to solve for the letter X. Stupid. Do you see any plus or minus signs that I can get rid of? Subtract the 2y. That would give me 11 x's gone equals 6 minus 2y. Why can I not put 4y? Why can't I put 6 minus 2 together? Not like terms. Why are they not like terms? What? There's a y. There's a y on one and not the other. My last step to get x by itself would be to divide by the 11. And I could divide the whole thing by 11.